Hey, seventh graders, welcome to 3.3. Today we're going to be talking about dividing decimals. I know you've seen this a little bit in the past, and today we're going to get a little bit more practice with it and definitely include some negatives with it. I'll try to give you as many good reminders as I can to how to do this. All right, so it says for letter A, divide 8.28 by 4.6. Okay, so the first thing that you have to remember is when you use long division for these numbers, what number goes where? Okay, well, the first number, 8.28, is going to go inside the long division sign. So if you need to write that reminder, do it. First number goes inside long division sign. Okay, so I have 8.28 divided by 4.6. And the key to dividing decimals is that you need this outside number on the outside long division sign, which is called the divisor. You need that outside number to be a whole number. Okay? Right now, you'll see that it's a decimal, 4.6. Well, how could you make it a whole number? You could make it a whole number by multiplying it by 10 to make it an integer. So I could just move it one spot to the right. That's the same as multiplying by 10. 4.6 times 10 would be 46. And now that my outside number, my divisor, would be 46 divided by, and if I move my decimal one spot in the divisor, you probably guessed it, you also have to move it one spot in the dividend, or in other words, multiply by 10. So this would become 82.8. Okay, and you'll see that that's what they did right here. They moved their decimal one spot in each number. In other words, multiplying it by 10 to make the divisor or make this outside number into a whole number. That's the most important thing from today. Okay, take a minute, think about that. However you need to write it down so you can remember it and have it on your note sheet for the test, please do it. That's the big idea for today. Okay, then after you've done that, you just divide as you would with whole numbers. Okay, well, 46 goes into 82. Well, if I were to round this to 45, I know 45 times 2 would be 90. That's too much, so it just goes in there one time. And 1 times 46 is 46. Okay, I need to subtract those. 2 minus 6 I can't do, borrow, that becomes a 7, this becomes a 12. 12 minus 6 is 6, and 7 minus 4 is 3. And then bring down my 8. Okay, then I need to ask myself, how many times does 46 go into 368? Okay, well, if I multiply by 10, it would be 460, and that would be too much. I need to go into 368. So I'll just estimate, and I'll guess like 7 or 8. Let's try 8. 46 times 8. 6 times 8 is 48. Carry my 4. 4 times 8 is 32. Plus 4 is 36. Perfect. 368. I wouldn't have any remainder. And that would be 8 times. Now, the last thing, don't forget bringing your decimal point straight up in your quotient. Okay? So my answer would be 1.8. Okay? And does that make sense? Well, let's just double check here. If I rounded this to 8 and rounded this to 4, 8 divided by 4 would be 2. And this is pretty close to 2. So that makes pretty good sense. Okay, let's go ahead and try another one for letter B. We have 18.48 divided by negative 1.75. Okay, remember that in the end, we're going to have a negative answer because when we're multiplying or dividing and we have different signs, one's positive and one's negative, we're going to have a negative answer. Okay? So I've got 18.48. My first number goes inside my long division sign, divided by 1.75. And like I told you before, we need to get this divisor to be a whole number. Well, now you'll see I have to move my decimal 2 spots to the right. If I move it 2 spots to the right in my divisor, I also have to do that in my dividend. 2 spots here. In other words, moving my decimal 2 spots to the right is the same as multiplying by 100 to make my divisor an integer. 2 zeros, 2 decimal places. Okay, so let's 18.48 divided by negative 1.75 is the same thing as 1,848 divided by 175. Okay. If I need to, I can use zeros as placeholders. You see, they just added zeros here to the end, just like you would with regular division. All right, 175 goes into 184 one time, and 1 times 175 is 175. Okay, subtract. You'd get, let's see, borrow. This becomes a 7. 14 minus 5 would be 9. And 17 minus 17 is 0. And bring down my 8. Okay, so now does 175 go into 98? Well, it goes in there 0 times, right? I'm going to bring my decimal straight up while I'm right here in my problem. And then to be able to continue dividing, I need to bring another 0 down. So now, how many times does 175 go into 980? If I rounded this to 200, 200, 400, 600, 800, 1,000, probably close to 5 times is going to be my guess. And 175 times 5, 25, carry my 2. 7 times 5 is 35, 36, 37. 5 times 1 is 5, plus 3 is 8. So that's where they get their 875. Subtract these. I'd have to borrow. Make this a 7, make this a 10. 10 minus 5 is 5. 7 minus 7 is 0. And 9 minus 8 is 1. So I get 105 when I subtract and then bring down another 0. Okay, and how many times does 175 go into 1,050? Well, 175 times 5 was 175 or 875. If I were to add another 175 to that, what would I get? That'd be 10, and that'd be 15, and that would be 10. Perfect. So this was 5 times, add another 175 would be 6 times, and then I have no remainder. Okay, so 18.48 divided by negative 1.75 would give me, and now remember, our signs are different, so that would give me a negative answer, negative 10.56. Okay, go ahead and flip to the back side now. And this time, you're going to see that we're going to be using a whole number. Okay, so we have 4 divided by 1.25. Again, your first number goes on the inside, 4 divided by 1.25. You'll notice I have to get my divisor to a whole number, so I have to move my decimal 2 spots. Or in other words, multiply both numbers by 100. Well, if I move my decimal 2 spots in my divisor, I also have to do that in my dividend. Okay, well, there's no decimal, but you can always assume there's a decimal after a whole number, right? 4.00, and move it 2 spots. So that's the same thing as 400 divided by 125. Okay. Again, you might need to use zeros as placeholders when you're dividing, just like you would with regular division. All right, 125 goes into 400. All right, I think I was saying 125 goes into 400. That would be 3 total times. And 3 times 125 would be 375. 3 times 1 is 3. 3 times 25 is 75. The difference between these two numbers is 25, and bring down another 0. And then how many times does 125 go into 250? Well, that would just be twice. And don't forget to bring your decimal straight up. Okay, so I would have 3.2 as my answer. Okay, if I were to estimate and see if that's reasonable, well, estimate this to 4, estimate this to 1. 4 divided by 1 is 4. The answer is definitely reasonable. I'm only 8/10 away from 4, so pretty close. All right, let's go on to letter B. And it says negative 24 divided by negative 2.5. Okay, first I'll start similar to I have with my last problems and writing it in a long division sign. So 24 divided by 2.5. Make my outside number into a whole number. So I'd have to move one spot here as well and add in a 0 there. So it's the same as 240 divided by 25. Okay. And then again, just divide as you would with whole numbers. Your decimal point comes straight up in your answer, and ask yourself, how many times does 25 go into 240? Well, if you took 25 times 10, that would be 250. That'd be too much. So I'm going to try one less. So 9 times 25 would give me 225. I'll subtract, and the difference between 240 and 225 is 15, and bring down a 0. And then 25 goes into 150. How many times? Well, 25 times 4 would be 100, and you need 2 more 25s to get to 150. So that would be a total of 6 times 25 would give me 150. So 9.6 would be my answer. And notice here I have the same sign. A negative divided by a negative. Same sign gives me a positive answer, so positive 9.6. If I were to estimate, let's check and see if that's reasonable. Estimate this to 24. Estimate this to 3. 24 divided by 3 give me 8. We were pretty close to that, yes? So the answer is reasonable. All right, go ahead and flip to the last page then, where we have example 3, which is our word problem, and then we've got 3 check it out problems to end. Okay, so in example 3, it says Eric paid $229.25 to rent a car. The fee to rent the car was $32.75 per day. For how long did he rent the car? Okay, well, let's take our total number and divide it by our per day cost, and that'll tell us how long we rented it. All right, 229.25 divided by 32.75. Again, 2 spots to make it a whole number. And now we're dealing with some larger numbers. So this becomes 22,925 divided by 3,275. Okay. And don't let these big numbers fool you. You can round to see if you can get close. Okay. If you rounded this, let's see, 23,000, it's close to 23,000. And you rounded this to 3,000. How many times does 3,000 go into 23,000? Well, 3 times 7 is 21, and 3 times 8 is 24. So it's going to be between 7 and 8. Let's just try 7 first to see if that makes a difference. 3,275 times 7. 35, carry my 3. 49, 50, 51, 52. 14 plus 5 would give me 19. Carry my 1. 7 times 3 is 21. plus 1 is 22. Perfect. Look at that. 22,925. And it was a total of 7. Okay, so Eric rented the car for 7 days. Now, if you want to double check that, go ahead and take 7 times $32.75 per day and see if it gives you $229.25. That would be definitely the way to check it. All right, lastly, I'd ask that you pause the video now, give these last 3 a good shot, and see what you come up with for the check it out. I'll be right back with the answers. All right, for number 1, you should have gotten 12.9. Number 2, 8.8. And lastly, 28 miles per gallon. Okay, if you didn't get any of these, or I can't see the work on your sheet of paper, then I know you can't do it in your head, or maybe you're using a calculator. So again, the end goal, guys, is to get better at doing the math. So really show your practice, really show your work. And if you have questions on any of these, please don't hesitate to ask me. I'm going to be more than happy to help you. Okay. Hopefully that was a good review on dividing decimals. If you have more questions, please come see me. And good luck with this section. I will see you next time.